Hey everybody, it's Jason from Collision Hub. Welcome to this special edition of Collision Hub Network News. We got Jake Rodenroth from asTech today, and Jake, earlier this week, there was a document that was sent out to the industry and to some of your customers, and there's been a lot of speculation, interpretation around it. So rather than having people try to decipher it themselves, we figured we'd have a quick conversation with you. Can you tell us what's up?
Yeah, so a lot of changes going on at asTech to all for the good of the industry. We're really trying to support all the constituents in the industry. asTech has always been historically neutral and trying to work with everybody. And part of doing that is that we've when we first went down this venture, it seems like yesterday, but it's really been. I think the first time we talked was 8 years ago, 9 years ago at NACE, and there were no pre and post position statements out. The industry as a whole wasn't using scan tools at any level. And so that was something that, when we started down that road, really in the education side of things before we started selling products and services, we did a lot of research on pricing, on what, we offer an OEM solution that uses factory scan tools, hardware, and software. And we said, well, who else does that? And our main, I would say, comparison would be a dealership, because they're using factory scan tools, trained technicians, and service manuals. So, we did a around the country, kind of what does it cost to run a scan at the dealership? And so we tried to get an idea of what that should be, and we went into the market with it. And, then you started seeing things happening as far as OEMs putting out position statements and things like that. You fast forward to 2020, and, the main message here is that asTech is simply we're trying to compete. We're trying to compete with the other providers out there. And we believe our solution's a little bit drastically different than theirs. And there's potentially higher costs there as well. And so we're trying to make diagnostic scans using our service more palatable for the industry. And so when we've got a car that maybe doesn't have a lot of technology on it, and you ran pre and post scans, and there wasn't any issues that were found, there were no DTCs, steering angle looked right, SRS system was functioning as it should, those kinds of things. We wanted to make those scans cheaper and easier for our shops and insurers to pay reimbursement. So that's really what this pricing change is. And it's also designed to kind of break up what the actual scan cost, and then what the diagnostic service costs too. When we involve a technician and they are running through guided fault finding and gunning through service manuals, there's a lot of things that happen on the back side of that scan that the shop may or may not be aware of. We're digging through a service manual to try to figure out what's wrong with this car, and so that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to explain, be more specific about what we do rather than pre-scan, here it is, here's the price, So that was the main reason behind the change.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think one that I think often gets lost as well is that it's not just about getting the DTCs all the time, right? There's a lot of work that goes on after that. So you guys do some of that as well then, correct? You're saying that what's called guided fault finding?
Yep, guided fault finding, where we're going through and researching the individual DTC on why it triggered in the first place. But there's been cases where a shop hired us to do a post scan, and it needed a calibration of some sort that didn't require a scan tool. Honda's Lane Watch is a perfect example, because it's done through the radio, right? Yeah. So that shop has the correct target. We could walk them through on how to calibrate that car without using the asTech whatsoever. That's still a service. That's still using our technician's skill set and interpreting the service manual to do that, right? So, we really believe that it's three pieces that fixes a car. It's the correct scan tool, it's a service technician, and it's a service manual. And so we may use all three or one or two of those to figure out what's going on with that particular car and that technology that's in that car. So we wanted to get more specific around when we write our invoices on how to charge for that and itemize things. And that's what you're seeing in the new pricing.
Okay. And I believe I read something somewhere that this is like a per VIN. Is that correct? This isn't like every time I'm using. What's the scoop on that?
Yeah, so there's been some changes to the fee structure with certain OEMs. Certain OEMs will charge you to access the software. They charge you a fee. If you program a module, they charge you a fee. We don't do a lot of programming and collision. We're not diagnosing, drivability and engine or rough shifting or any of that kind of stuff where you would do a lot of programming. Outside of airbags, it's kind of rare. Certain ADAS systems have to be programmed, but it's fairly rare if you look at our overall book of business. So when there's a charge for a programming event, then we pass that through as a dead cost to the shop. It's not something that asTech makes money on. We literally collect it from the end user and then pass it back to the OEM as a fee. And so that's something that we wanted to itemize as well to draw out why is it cost as much as it does. If that vehicle required programming, we want to detail that out in the report rather than having a bill payer having to read through it and figure out why it's $40 more expensive if it was a GM, right? So that's what we're doing there.
Now, is there a resource available from asTech where if I can go for frequently asked questions about this topic?
Yeah. So if you go to asTech.com and click on the resources tab, at the very bottom, you'll see a frequently asked questions document around pricing. And that can help you answer a lot of questions. We also set up a dedicated email that is staffed by a team of customer service folks. So if you're not getting the question answered on that FAQ doc, you can hit that email. I believe it's pricing@asTech.com.
Yep.
And they'll be able to respond back to you on that.
Okay, but certainly the first place we want people to go is the FAQ document, read through that, understand that.
I gotta commend our leadership on this. Before launching the actual pricing change, which will be effective on September 1st, they put this document together to prep the industry for it and hopefully get a lot of the questions out of the way before we actually change the pricing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good way to start with the document, read through it. If there's something that just doesn't quite make sense, then certainly send that over to us.
Okay. Now, is the process itself for getting asTech to do scans and stuff like, has the process changed at all?
No, the process hasn't changed. We went to a new invoicing system that will hopefully speed things up and correct billing errors and things like that. Very excited about that. Our development team worked a lot on that. When you think about what we do, there wasn't just a system that we could go buy and implement into our business. It has to be proprietary. And so they spent a lot of time and a lot of development dollars putting that together. And so this new pricing will run on that new system. And so we're just trying to make our service better and easier to use, certainly as fast as we can make it and those kinds of things. So it's something that we hope will benefit everybody.
Okay. Anything else you want to add in closing, Jake?
Yeah, I think the only thing we didn't cover, we did make a change on the premium brands.
Okay.
So starting with Jaguar, Land Rover, Volvo, and Porsche, those brands, when you think about the cost of tooling and technicians and things like that, there's a greater expense there for us. Like I said, we're using the same tool that a dealership uses. So it's kind of relative to the cars, you know what I mean? So there is a change there, but that's identified as well in the FAQ doc.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I certainly appreciate your time, Jake. And again, if anybody's got any questions, again, refer to that FAQ document. And if the question you have isn't answered by that, you can send an email to pricing@asTech.com. There's also a phone number on that FAQ document as well. So I'll reach out to that. So Jake, appreciate your time very much and look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully.
Sounds good, my friend. Be safe out there.
Thanks. Bye-bye.